Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of Laps and Yaps. Today I'm joined by racing driver Harri Reynolds. Hi Harry.
Hello, hello, hello everyone. Thanks for having me on.
It's all right. Okay, to start with, just like ease into it. What racing have you done like this year and what have you got for, like the rest of the year coming up if you have any?
So this year, started off with some British F4 testing, and then it went into round one of British F4, which was very exciting for me. Doing the one-off last year, getting to come back to F4 this year was very exciting for me. It was probably the biggest thing I'd ever done. Um, so yeah, we did round one. Unfortunately, then. It's probably the end of my British F4 time, at least for now anyway. I'd love to make a return, but we'll see. Otherwise, I've been doing some rallying, so completely different to any of the
Yeah.
circuit stuff that I've been doing. And then for the rest of the year, we'll see. I've got one big announcement that's coming soon. Not many people know about it at the minute, so
Okay.
yeah, make sure everyone's looking
Okay.
out for that. Apart from that, we'll have to see what the year brings.
All right. How like was it racing in F4? Like the cars, what are they like?
It's been an amazing experience the whole time I've been in F4. It's a very tough car, I will say. The amount of testing the top drivers are doing, like
Okay.
McLaughlin, Jimmy, them
Yeah.
lot, the days they do, it's hard to keep up with them, and I don't think we quite got that bit sussed. But it's a tough car, but very good fun.
Yeah, I watched it at Silverstone this year back in May and it's good to watch as well, I think. Always something interesting. Because the cars they're equal, aren't they? Like they're all the same.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Y-
they equalise. Yeah, it's very good racing in
Yeah.
F4.
So out of like all the tracks in the UK, which track would you want to race at the most?
I'd say Knockhill. It's very very much towards my driving style. It's very like just send it, and that's what I like. So yeah, definitely Knockhill.
Okay. Um, so no, you didn't do F4 Silverstone because you are historic racing? Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
What
yeah. So
that
I
like?
missed out for
So
that.
what historic car were you driving?
So I was in a Lotus Cortina Mark One. So
Nice.
something very very different to the to
Yeah.
the F4. But no, it was really good fun. It was a good weekend. One of my sponsors gave me the opportunity to race with him. So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, it was an amazing car, really good experience. Yeah, so I hope I get to do more of that.
Yeah. It look every time someone talks about historic, like it sounds really fun to do because
Yeah.
it's different. So if there's any like historic car you could race, do you know what it'd be and like why?
Um, it's probably either a Mark One or Mark Two Escort. They're cars that my dad has rallied and driven for years and years. Um, so for me, it'd be very special to continue driving them. I've been lucky to drive them a little bit, and
Yeah.
I think it'd make it even more special for me if I got to drive my dad's cars as
Yeah.
well, as he's still got them. So yeah, Mark One, Mark Two Escort, they're probably the cars I want to drive the most.
So did your like dad get you into the racing then?
Yeah, so when my dad was 17, he got into motorsport, into rallying, and then when I was 10, he bought me my first go-kart. So before that, I'd been to all of his rallies, yeah, a lot of his rallies anyway. And then yeah, for me it was as soon as I got my kart, it was my turn, and yeah, I was set free on the track.
Okay. Have you done I think you did GB4 or 3.
Yes, I did GB4 back in 2023. Yeah.
How like different are the GB4 and the F4 cars?
They're fairly similar. Obviously, they're all aero cars,
Yeah.
both on slicks. They are fairly similar. They've got the slightly different. So when I drove GB4, I had the car without the halo.
Okay.
So the difference between no halo and a halo just makes the car a little bit stiffer. It's all the stuff, the boring stuff that the
Yeah.
engineers have to deal with. But yeah, for me personally, it was a very similar car.
Which did you prefer?
Probably the F4, but I think that's because I've had more time. I'm older. I was able to learn it a lot quicker than
Yeah.
I could be before.
Okay. Um, did you have to like so growing up, also like with school and racing, also like oh, did you have to find like a way to balance it or was it like difficult to do?
Yeah, to some degree, it was about balancing it between going to school and racing. I mean, most of the time, I was very lucky. My school allowed me to have pretty much as much time off I needed. Same with my parents; they were very lenient with it. So if I needed to race, then I'd be racing, which I'm very grateful for as well. There, that I've been able to put pretty much as much time into motorsport as I've wanted, which has been really good for me.
Yeah. So how long were you in karts for before you went into like cars?
I think 4 years. I started end of 2016. 2017 is when I had my first full season, and then
Okay.
yeah, and then 20 end of 2020. Then I started my testing then in cars.
Okay. When I went to Silverstone, I asked all the F4 drivers that I spoke to, I asked them all three questions. So I'm going to ask you them as
Okay.
well. So
Yeah.
first, what's my first question? Growing up in motorsport, who was like a driver you looked up to?
So I've looked up to quite a few. My dad is definitely one. Other than my dad. I don't know. I've always liked Max Verstappen. I know people will probably say, "Oh, yeah, you're only supporting the favorite," but I think
Absolutely.
I really like Max Verstappen's aggression,
Yeah.
and I think I've got a bit of that in my style as well. So yeah,
I think you just have to look up to Max Verstappen, especially like with how young he came into the sport and everything he's doing. Yeah.
yeah,
And
definitely.
if you could race in any motorsport series, but not Formula One, what would it be and why?
Oh, okay. I'll say the WRC, the World Rally Championship, because
Anyone?
yeah, because of my dad. He's done a few events in his time, so I think it'd be cool if I ever rallied in that anyway.
No, that's a new one. Normally I've been told like WAG, that's all I've had is
Yeah,
WAG.
well, gotta be a bit different
Yeah.
sometimes.
And then if you had to do an escape room with like anyone on the F4 grid, who would it be? I had some
Oh,
interesting answers.
question. Okay. Well, straight off the bat, I'd say probably Joel
Okay.
Berg, just because me and him we get on well. However, I don't know if we'd actually escape. It would probably we'd probably just be stuck, but at least we'd have fun.
Yeah. This is not a question from me, but I asked my teacher today at school because he was like, have you got any plans? I was like, oh, I had this interview. And I was like, what question should I ask him? And he said, if you were stuck on a desert island and you could only listen to five songs, what songs would they be?
Oh, um, oh my God, let me pull up my playlist quickly. Let's have a look. That's a good one. Shout out to your teacher.
Yeah, you have to ask
Um,
him.
at the minute, I've been listening to "Meet Me Halfway" by Black Eyed Peas. So
Oh,
that's
okay,
one. It's
good
a bit
song.
different. Oh my God, let's have a look. Oh my God. Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
All right.
So yeah, you you might not have
I
heard this
do
one.
not know, but okay.
Yeah, these are like older ones.
Okay,
That's another old one. Dear Maria, that's a good one. You'll have to listen. You'll have to listen to these. These are good ones.
I will.
Um, and then maybe like Her Eyes. I don't know who that one's by, but
Yeah,
yeah, that one's another one I've been listening to a lot.
they'll sound like some good songs. Definitely be having a good
Yeah,
vibe on the island.
yeah. This like oh yeah, very
But,
good.
oh, do you want me to part of my series for this motorsport, this or that?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. I have some, they're on my phone because these questions, people have either answered them really quickly or they've had to sit and think about them.
Okay.
We'll try to do it quickly.
Yeah,
Okay,
no worries.
McLaren or Ferrari?
McLaren,
Norris world champion or Piastri world champion?
Norris,
Win Monaco or win Silverstone?
Silverstone,
Win Le Mans or win Indy 500?
Le Mans,
Vettel returns or Ricardo returns?
Ricardo,
Piastri wins in Australia or Sainz wins in Spain?
Sainz wins in Spain,
Max retires or Max never wins again?
Max retires,
Get rid of Miami or get rid of Vegas?
Vegas,
Racing WEC or Racing Indy?
Racing Wreck,
Lewis, eighth world title or Charles first?
Charles first,
Bring back Hockenheim or bring back Malaysia?
Hockenheim,
Mark Webber or Jenson Button?
oh Jenson Button.
Nah, Mark Webber. So let's say you're racing in F1. This let's go that way. Let's just go right to the top. And
Yeah.
then so you had to be like teammates with any driver's ever been. Maybe not any driver's ever been. Maybe like the last 10 years. Who do you want to be your teammate? Like who do you think would be a good teammate on the grid?
Um, there's so many that I'd pick for so many different reasons, and
Yeah,
I can only think of people on the grid now. So, I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool to be teammates with Kimi Antonelli
yeah,
because we're a very similar age. So I think it'd be cool.
definitely.
You know, there'd be a good vibe there.
The vibe.
Uh, yeah, I think that one. I think Kimi. Yeah,
Yeah. Gotta do it for the vibes, everything. That's
exactly.
what I would do. Okay. Do you think like going to school as a racing driver, like not as racing, but like in karting, do you think like if people like did you tell people about it or would you like keep it separate from school?
It depended really. I mean, I at times keep it a bit more quiet, but then I think when people know a bit, then they do tend to ask a bit.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, I think it depends on who you're talking to, really, that you keep it quiet or not. But yeah, a lot of the time, I've been at times I have been supported by people at school, so it's nice to be able to tell them then. But um, yeah, a lot of people then also aren't into motorsport
Yeah.
like I am, so then it's like they don't want to hear about it. They're just talking about the football on the weekend, not the F1. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would tell them, but yeah, it depends really.
So if you did tell people, would you ever get like fed up of people asking about it or would it like
No,
you fine with it?
never. No, I can
No.
never get bored of people asking or
That
just talking about racing in general.
yeah. So F4 is gonna be racing at Silverstone alongside the F1. Do you think that's going to be like a really good experience for like those drivers, unlike for showcasing talent at a bigger stage?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been really, really good for F4.
Yeah,
And I think it will be because there's so many more drivers now entering as well.
yeah,
Already the grids have grown. I think we've had 4, 5 new drivers minimum, and there's just going to be more announced as well as we lead up to the race weekend. And getting to race on an F1 weekend
yeah,
is something that kids dream of in karting, and then getting to do it in F4 is amazing because a lot of people also can't then make the step to F3,
yeah.
F2. So to be able to be racing on an F1 weekend so at such a young age is so cool, and yeah, I think it'll be an amazing weekend.
So you mentioned about like not being able to make the gap to F3 for a lot of drivers. Have like finances, not finances, but like has there been like issues with like sponsors or not having like enough to let's say go into F3 for you? Or was it just a personal choice?
No, it's been a struggle. We try not to say too much about it just because
Yeah,
I think people do and can get bored if you're always like every weekend, oh yeah, we haven't got money, we haven't got
yeah,
money. For me it has been tough. My family have worked like my mum, dad, grandparents, everyone in my family has worked so hard for me to do all the racing I
yeah,
have, including my sponsors as well. And I mean, I'd love to make the step to F3. My dream is F1. I'd love to
yeah.
make the step F3, F2, but um, I think for me, I'm gonna have to probably look at like the GT route, um, which is
Mm,
still expensive,
yeah.
but it's cheaper and it's more of a path that I'll be able to follow. But financing budget is always tough, and it is for so many people.
Okay, so GT, like which like car brand would you want to race for in GT?
Um, I think driving for Porsche would be cool.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I think like there's like Ferrari. I think
Yeah,
anyone that's in F1 as well, if you drive for them, that'd be cool. And
yeah,
uh, I used to race in Ginetta, so I think doing a Ginetta GT4 in some sort of GT series would be fun just to go back to where it started in cars.
yeah, that's nice. I think like a lot of people don't realize about how many like, branches of motorsport there is because they're just like there's so many people that are just F1 fans or like just indie. I'm doing maybe not just indie fans. I don't really know much about it in indie, but I think a lot of people don't realize the fact that there's so many competitions. It's like it's not just getting to F1 for a lot of drivers that ever have. Put it like that.
Yeah, there's almost unlimited routes really. Like
Yeah,
no matter no matter what type of motorsport you like, there's definitely a way forward for it, and pretty much a way you can make it professional as well.
Mm. Because when people tell me they don't like motorsport, I'm like, there's got to be at least one series out there that you like. You can't say you hate all of motorsport.
No, exactly, exactly. Unless people just hate cars in
Yeah.
general, but no, I can't see how them people how them
Mm.
how you can ever talk to them people if they don't like
I
cars.
know, they're like, you're so obsessed with it. And I'm like, no, I'm not that obsessed. It's just I watch so many motorsports that I need and I want to talk about them all, but you just have no clue. Well, not you don't clue, you have
Yeah,
no interest.
exactly.
It was like, shut up.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So I think it definitely depends. 'Cause I think, especially in my year group, it's quite like boy heavy in motorsport, like liking it. And it's like, they just like F1. And they come across like my social media accounts and they're like, oh my God, who's this driver? I've never heard of them. And I'm like, that's because I tried to talk about it with you and you told me that you didn't know what it was. But it's like
Yeah,
branch out a
yeah.
bit. Or they say something stupid, but they just do. That's them in my school. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you first because all the questions I have.
Yeah,
But
no problem. Thank you for having me on.
all right. Right. Thank you very much. And I'll
No
get the video out
problem.
soon.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, thank you.
All right.